So if you know absolutely anything about Lego, then you would probably know that for the last 2 months or so, Reckless Ben has currently been in this huge case against Bricks and Minifigs. And basically my response to this entire thing, I have waited a long time to make this video, specifically because of all the legalities that have come with this particular issue, and just for my own safety and for me not wanting to get demonetized on YouTube, I've waited it out until 2 months later, so I kind of have a firm idea on what I want to say. But basically my response is that even though Ben Schneider, even though Crystal and a lot of other people were wrongfully treated, at the end of the day it was Brian Menzel and his father's Lego collection were stolen. And I honestly feel that that is the core root of this entire thing, and that even though we're focusing on other things that did happen, at the end of the day they are the true victims of this case. But for anyone that doesn't know, a quick 2-minute recap of basically what happened is, a couple years ago, Brian Menzel decided to sign a consignment agreement with Bricks and Minifigs, and basically what this consignment agreement means is that for every Lego that sells, Bricks and Minifigs would take a commission of that sale, and that would continue for all $200,000 worth of Lego that he had. Basically what ended up happening is the owner of the store, Crystal, and her husband, I do not know her husband's name, however, they had to leave the country for legal reasons, I don't know specifically, but basically what ended up happening was they were forced to leave the country, and in turn Bricks and Minifig corporate took over the store. And when they took over the store, this is where it gets technical. So the store technically was supposed to take on the consignment agreement that the store previously had with Brian Menzel. However, they basically decided to completely refuse this consignment agreement once it actually came to the time where Brian Menzel actually called the store, because we have video evidence that they said that they would take on the consignment.
For ones that haven't, he has not been paid his percentage yet. And if I don't have the tickets, I won't know how much I need to pay.
That's a business thing and not necessarily yours. He's taking on the business, he takes on all that consignment.
However, when Brian Menzel tried to reach out to them right after, they basically shunned him out completely. And that leads us to a couple months ago when Ben Schneider, or otherwise known as Reckless Ben on YouTube, decided to intervene into this case where for a couple of months he tried every tactic possible to try to get the Legos back, all without going and pursuing legal action. However, in the end it ended up resulting in him having to pursue legal action for Bricks and Minifigs to finally give the Legos back.
You have, like, I guess until the store closes, I guess, to get the Legos back, if that's the way you want to go. But if not, I guess we'll serve the papers today and then go to court.
How are you going to serve the papers today?
Well, figure it out.
That's not how it works. Are you young? That's not how the world works.
It's not how the world works. Well, we're going to do it. We're going to make the world work that way today.
Resulting in them being so stubborn as to where the point where they shut down the store completely, where that to him was a win. However, he still tried to go and pursue to get the Legos back. He was met with being SWAT raided, a bunch of false threats.
They themselves saying, hey, you guys stole this product from this person. If you don't give it back, I'm going to burn the place down.
Let's go to the next thing Bricks and Minifigs is accusing me of. Extortion.
And whatsoever, if you want to get more into this, please, I highly recommend you watch all of Reckless Ben's videos on his YouTube channel. However, after all this stuff happened, basically what resulted was he had a warrant for his arrest and he had to flee the country into Mexico.
He was like, just tell him he has a warrant for his arrest.
There really is only one thing that I can do now. Well, I'm in Mexico now, and the American police have no authority here. What's going on? What the heck is that thing? You can let us on that?
Where I don't know if he's still there currently, but if you watch his part 3, he basically highlights what's happening now after he got his freedom of speech back, because for about a month the court adjourned. He wasn't allowed to say Bricks and Minifigs for an entire month, and for this period of time,
I can't post it or I will go to jail. And not only that, I will also immediately lose my lawsuit of $300,000, and the GoFundMe we made for Brian will go straight to this mystery company that I am no longer allowed to talk about.
Basically, it was kind of like the silent time. We were kind of just hearing from the so-called offenders in this case, which would be the CEO of Bricks and Minifigs and the American Fork Police Department, which basically just made all this misconception about a lot of issues which leads us to today, where now Ben Schneider has finally got his freedom of speech back, and he's currently pursuing multiple legal cases against this company. And I just want to say that personally, I'm not shaming any companies here, but I do say that the facts point towards the fact that Bricks and Minifigs wrongfully seized a heap of inventory that did not belong to the company, but instead belonged to an individual who had a consignment agreement. They were breaking the consignment agreement illegally, and they should be faced with legal action for that. And it could have just been as simple as that. However, they've taken it far, far beyond. And if you guys want to get more into this, I highly recommend that you go and you look up recklessben's YouTube channel. You watch the full series. Trust me, I found out about this in the most random way possible. So I watch MGS Brick's YouTube channel, and a couple months ago, he made a reel. I don't know if he took it down or not, but basically he made a reel where he was saying, me and Ben Schneider, we're going to get involved. We're going to go and pursue this whole case. And basically what Bricks and Minifigs did is they silently came in and they messaged him all this stuff, giving him all these like non-threats, where if he did pursue this, that they would pursue legal actions, and this could result in imprisonment and all this horrible stuff. So he backed down from it. But anyway, after watching the first episode, which was linked through his video, I just got absolutely hooked, and I definitely recommend that all you guys check it out, just so you guys can get your own perspectives. Don't hear it from what I'm saying, but I want you guys to go out, watch your own stuff, and basically come up with your own opinions from the evidence that's there. Basically, the moral of the story here is that Bricks and Minifigs currently is in a really rough spot, because as consumers who enjoy Lego, we obviously want to go to Bricks and Minifigs because it's an easy way for us to get retired Lego, and it's a cool store to check out in general. But the problem is that even though there are still good stores, there are a lot of franchise owners who did absolutely nothing wrong, and you should give them no hate. You shouldn't give anyone hate no matter what. But still, even though there are franchise owners that didn't do anything wrong, the moral fact that the company itself, the corporate, did stuff wrong, it still doesn't make it right. Just because you were an employee in a business that stole a bunch of money still doesn't mean that you can't be credible to the crimes of your boss. I would recommend doing these 3 things. First off, all content creators who make Lego content, honestly, just be pretty neutral. Don't try to provoke Bricks and Minifigs in any way. We don't want more legal issues, especially just because there's so much information out there that's just being lied to the public that's coming from Bricks and Minifigs, which means if what they're saying isn't credible, then how can we take any of their information to be credible?
With crime number 1.
So what's going on?
So you guys are holding some of our Legos?
No, we're not.
You're not?
No. So who's
Brian Mansell.
Okay, and who is that?
He's a guy who had he had like $200,000 worth of Legos in your guys' store.
Never happened.
Eamon was first trying to claim that he's never even heard of Brian Mansell, and this guy definitely never had any Legos in a Bricks and Minifigs store. But once we showed him all of the social media posts his own company made, it was very obvious that we just caught him in a lie. So the CEO decided to change his story, and now the story is the Legos used to be in the store, but the previous owner, Crystal, she stole all the Legos right before they took over the store.
So that's what I'm saying for content creators, for just the public in general. I would say support the Brick by Brick movement, which is basically just bring awareness to the case, to support recklessben, Crystal, and Brian Mansell, who are the ones that are being wrongly treated in this scenario. And then the third thing is, I would personally recommend not shopping at Bricks and Minifigs, but try at all costs to find alternatives. So basically, I'm bringing these 4 items right here: this Ninjago figure, this sealed Star Wars poly bag, as well as this V-Wing and battle pack with no minifigures. We're going to take them into this local owned buy, sell, and trade Lego store. It's called John's Box of Bricks. Please check them out. They're honestly an amazing store, great staff, highly recommend. Anyway, what we were able to get out of it was we were able to get store credit, where we were able to trade for this OG Count Dooku, and I honestly think this was a really great trade. They're super fair. They showed me the market value, and they're being super transparent when dealing with them. Highly recommend. So thank you guys for watching, and I just want you guys to take as the moral of the story, please just try to find alternatives and support recklessben and his movement. And please, Bricks and Minifigs, don't take this as me saying anything negative. I'm just stating the facts of a legal case. I have truly neutral in this entire thing. But guys, we're almost at 1,000 subscribers, so please hit that like and subscribe button. Please, we're almost at 1,000, and I need 1,000 more watch hours until we can get monetized. So let's try to hit that goal, and I'll see you in the next one.